So yesterday I had a client ask me, when you're reading a chart, what do you see? And how do you tie that into what you're experiencing? So I figured the best way to explain this is just to show you. So this is the chart of this moment, which is basically, let me put on my glasses, 10:54 a.m. on August 3rd. And so the sun right now is at 11 degrees, 9 minutes of Leo. And if we look down at the moon, it's at 9 degrees, 21 minutes of Pisces. So in about 4 hours, because the moon moves 1 degree every 2 hours, roughly, in about 4 hours, the moon's going to be at 11 Pisces, which is a 150-degree angle. I call it a dog leg because the moon it's in a disconnect. This is called the quincunx in astrology. See this green dashed line going up to the sun, between the sun and the moon? That means it's a quincunx. That's the symbol for quincunx, inconjunct or disconnect. So I have a Pisces moon in my natal chart. So the moon rules our feelings, our moods, our emotional responses to stimulus in our environment, our intuition, our hunches, our sixth sense. And the sun is who we are as a conscious living being with choice, right? So they're in a disconnect. This is an angle that is disconnected. So it's hard to center myself and take, full responsibility for how I'm feeling. And so this morning, just to give you an example of how this is playing out in my life, I have a rule. I never go on social media until first after I have done my meditation, my yoga, I've had a nourishing breakfast, I've taken my ice cold shower, I put on fresh, clean clothes. Why? Because I want to locate the responsibility for my experience where it belongs, within myself. Because all my experience begins from within myself. And what I'm seeing in the external world is just a bunch of electrical impulses being interpreted by my brain because all this data is coming in through my five senses. So if I skip my workout routine, if I don't meditate first, if I don't do my stretching and my yoga and a workout, and I don't eat a nourishing, grounding breakfast first, and I just jump on social media first, like I did this morning, it's like letting a horse out of a stable and they run free out into the desert. And if I need that horse, if I need to ride that horse to survive, now I got to spend the rest of the day trying to catch that horse. But I've already let him out of the stable. So I'm wasting a lot of precious energy. I'm giving away a lot of vitality and life force trying to chase something and reel it back in my mind that I should have taken control of first thing. Just to repeat, normally my first, my regimen, my routine for the morning, as soon as I come awake, I roll out of bed, take an ice cold shower, which is really good for the nervous system and good for circulation and so many things. Brush my teeth, right? Scrape my tongue, brush my teeth. I do all that, clean my mouth, put on fresh, clean clothes. Then I bolt my butt to the mat, do my yoga, do my mantra meditation, yada, yada, yada. Then I have a nice, nourishing, grounding breakfast. Now all my bodily necessities and my mind is clear, centered, grounded, balanced. I've located the responsibility for my happiness and my well-being within myself. In other words, I'm the captain of this ship. The only thing I can control in this whole universe is my mind. And if I let that mind run free, like I did this morning, I went on Facebook without doing my normal routine. I just was lazy. I felt needy and insecure. I said, I'm going to go on Facebook and see who's liked my last post. And when I logged on, there was a dozen, like a 12 in that little, or 7 or something in that little, that red circle that shows how many likes you've gotten or how many people have commented on your stuff. Well, before I even clicked on that, a memory popped up from 7 years ago of Healdsburg Running Company plugging my business. I was going to give readings after this, 5K run or something. And so anyway, I got pulled into the past thinking about, those early days in Healdsburg and all those readings I gave and all those events and all those wonderful people. And they, it was all these warm fuzzies from the past. And by the way, the moon rules the past. So I allowed my moon, my moods and feelings and responses, right, to drift and disconnect from the sun, the soul, me. And so now I'm like playing catch up. I'm trying to reel my mind back in, like a fish that's taken the hook and is just taken off in the open water and is dragging the boat, right? So that's what I see when I look at the chart. As soon as I saw that disconnect between the sun in Leo and the moon in Pisces, I realized that's what it was. Now, that's not an excuse. In other words, I don't use the transits to make an excuse. Well, that's why, I'm not responsible. No, I'm still responsible for everything I'm experiencing. Even when I know and I see a causal correlation, that does not relieve me of my responsibility, which is what? A moment by moment reminding of myself that, hey, man, you have no control over what's happening in the outer environment around you, what to speak of in the greater outer world. The only thing you have control over is taking conscious awareness, right? Illuminating your own inner world with your awareness by paying attention to it.